Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Can repeat. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya. Na sayuktasya bhavana. Na sayuktasya bhavana. Na sabhavayata santir. Asantasya kuta sukam. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya. Na sayuktasya bhavana. Na sabhavayata santir. Santasya kuta sukam. Nasti buddhi ayuktasya. Na sayuktasya bhavana. Na sabhavayata santir. Santasya kuta sukam. The word for word translation. Please repeat. Na asti. There cannot be. Buddhi. Transcendental intelligence. Ayuktasya. Of one who is not connected with Krishna consciousness. Na, not, cha, and ayuktasya, of one devoid of Krishna consciousness. Bhavana, fixed mind in happiness. Na, not, cha, and abhavayayata, of one who is not fixed. Santihi, peace. Asantasya, of the unpeaceful. Kuta, where is sukham, happiness. Translation and commentary by Charavinda Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Please repeat. One who is not connected with the Supreme.
One who is not connected with the Supreme
in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
Without peace.
The commentary by A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter that when one understands that Krishna is the enjoyer of all the results of sacrifices and penances, that is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Therefore, it is, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace. However much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. Verse again. Nasti buddhya yuktasya nasayuktasya bhavana nasabhavayata santir asantasya kutasya. One who is not connected with Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace, and nor can there be any happiness without peace. Om Ajnanati Manasya Jananjanam Shaitan Shakshur Miritam Yena Tasmai Shilobhai Chichaitanyamano Vistam Stapitam Yena Utakishvyam Rupkalamyam Galatishvam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Kamam Shiyom Vakshavam Sham Shirupam Jagajatam Saganaratam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sapadutam Vajana Saitam Sikrishna Tanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sanavita Shivishakam Vikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Vando Jyotate Gopesha Gopka Kanta 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 State Tapta Kansana Gopaki Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanas Devi Pranamahare Panka Kalta Visham Vipan Visham Nambhavan Vyo Vaishnav Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Prasari Nirvishesha Srinivati Paskachani Yasatani. So in this last verses of the second chapter, Krishna speaks about happiness. We want all happiness. Somewhere or not, we want happiness. But even those who say, I don't want happiness, I want distress, they have also a desire. And desires are there to get something what we are missing. And therefore we are disturbed if our desires are not fulfilled. We are missing something that yes, we have all desires. Thus in our lives, every time everything happens according to our desire, and we get the happiness. Someone like here, no one who gets only happiness, no distress. No, also distress comes. That do we want it? Don't want it. Still, it comes. That, so Therefore, we are never peaceful. Our desires are not fulfilled. Some Buddhist philosophers, they say, we must kill desire. Then there is no desire, there is peace. That's what they say. That can you kill desire? That's Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, it is the soul must be active. We cannot stop doing anything. We must desire that. But on the spiritual path, there are different schools and they have different desires. That some, they want to become one with the spiritual light, become one with Brahman, and then they think, I'm peaceful. That they want liberation. But can they attain it? Freedom from desire? Very difficult. Very difficult path, Krishna says. Lesha Tigadrashtation. A very difficult path. Is Jnana. They are called Jnanis. But they do austerities, give up everything. And then to get liberation. But they have still a desire. Which desire? They have the desire to become liberated, right? They want liberation. And they want liberation means they want freedom from suffering and be peaceful. That it's still a material desire. That yes. But these jnanis who want liberation are just in a transitional position. Transitional. They think it's a final goal, but it's transitional. They study Vedanta. That's one method. Vedanta, Veda, Anta, the end of knowledge. Vedanta describes, especially in the first books, the difference between body and soul. They say, Aham Brahmasmi. That's Aham Brahmasmi. I'm spirit, I'm not material. And they study the material nature and they understand I'm not my hand, I'm not my head, I'm not my brain. That I'm not my thinking, feeling, willing. That's a subtle body. That's all material. So I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm neti, I'm not this, I'm not that. And finally they come to the conclusion, I'm spirit, I'm Brahman. I'm different from this body. And that is a first step in spiritual life. That's good. So they want to give up all desires to find out I'm spirit. That's good. So they realize that they are not a body. Unfortunately, it's only the negative part. It's a negative part. They realize that I'm not this body, I'm spirit. but they don't realize who they are. They don't realize their identity. They realize they are spiritual. That's good. And I have to give up all these desires, and then I become peaceful. That's a good step. Good. So the Buddhists, they want to give up desire. They understand desire is a cause of distress, suffering. So we cut it out. Get rid of desire. And the Jnanis also, they will get rid of desire. And then I merge with Brahman. I become spirit again. I've merged with the big spirit Brahman. And they think Brahman is God. I become God. Good. Is that a material desire? Desire to become God? It's a big material desire. That's also a problem. But it's like you go into the hospital, you are cured from a disease, and you are cured, and you are hanging out in the hospital, and yeah. But that's not the goal, to hang out on the hospital when you are cured. What is expected? You go home and you take up your activities again. So that's the point. They realize I'm not this body, but who they are, they don't realize. What does Bhagavad Gita say about our identity? What does Krishna say about the spirit soul here? Can someone say? Okay. Yeah, we are a part and parcel of God. But Krishna says Sanatana, eternal. Eternal, you cannot merge with something. Krishna has said before, the soul is uncleavable, cannot be cut to pieces. But it's not possible. Not possible. So they hang out into the hospital. So they merge with Brahman. But what is Brahman? Krishna is called Parabrahman. He's above Brahman. Parabrahman. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Brahmano I Pratishtanam. Brahman depends on me, comes from me. It comes from Krishna. So what here this verse says is that yes, we can only be happy if, as a part and parcel of Krishna, we are connected with the whole, with Krishna. That connection. So peace is only a step to happiness. It's not happiness. In this material world, yeah. Like we eat a pizza and we enjoy, nice. But then a few hours later, hunger comes. We have pain. Then we must eat again. And then the pain goes. And that we think is happiness. But those who are achieving this Brahman, so we don't say that this path of entering Brahman is false. No, they do. They do. If they attain perfection. Very rare that someone attains it. Because it's a very difficult path, going over many, many births. Many, many births. And then when they attain this perfection, They are in Brahman and it feels good. Finally some peace. That no disturbance. We like, of course, mostly people have another idea of peace. If there are no sound disturbances, everything is silent. It's peaceful. But peace means no disturbance, no suffering, and it feels good. And they are sitting there in Brahman as a soul. But what is the symptom of the soul? Very important. What's the symptom of the soul? That is the substance, how it is made, Satchidananda. But how do we know that the soul is in the body? What is the symptom? Consciousness. And what is the activity of the soul? Desire. So they are sitting in Brahman, in consciousness, a peaceful consciousness, not a blissful one, a peaceful consciousness. And they desire. Desire is still there. They want activity. But there is no activity in Brahman. So, after a few millions of years, it becomes really boring up there. They are out of the hospital, but now they are not going back to their normal activities. So what happens? They come back to this material world. They take birth again. They fall again because they desire to have activities. But the point is, their liberation is not self-realization. It's the realization that I'm not this body. Very good. But it's not self-realization. Self-realization means that Lord Chaitanya says, Shivera Svarupa Om Krishna Nityadas. We are a servant of Krishna. So this impersonalist, this Jnanis who join with Brahman, they say, Aham Brahmasmi. But that is preliminary knowledge. Further, they have to realize that they are Dasoham. I'm the servant of Krishna. And as a soul, we can connect with Krishna. The substance of the soul we just heard is Satchidananda. Sat means it's eternal. Krishna says about the soul, we never came into existence. We are existing now, and we will never cease to exist in the future. That's the soul. Sat. And Chit is knowledge. Now, our knowledge, because go back to Sat. The spirit soul is Sat, is eternal. Is the body eternal? No, it's very temporary. So these two are incompatible, right? And the soul is Sat. Sat, Chit. Chit means full of knowledge. Are we now full of knowledge? We don't even know who we are. That we are in deep ignorance. That's the reality. So that's also incompatible with the soul. And then the soul, in its original state, in its relationship with Krishna, is Ananda, full of bliss. People are full of bliss. Every morning I give class to devotees in the Ukraine. You can ask them, are you full of bliss? That no. Even you don't have to go to the Ukraine. Just in your environment, in your own life. So much suffering. So we feel we have the opposite in our lives. So these jhanis, they don't solve the problem of getting happiness, but they get peace. That's a good step. Krishna says here, without peace, no happiness. But if you have material desires, you cannot have peace. And Krishna explains that in a few verses before. He said, Dayate Visyapumsam Sanghas Teshapajayate Sanghasayayate Kama Krodha Vijayate. How does material desires develop? It starts with dayate, meditation. One meditates on something. Visyapumsam. So the person meditates on the Visaya, on the objects of enjoyment, something to enjoy. Then one start to develop attachment. I want to enjoy that. Then lust develops. I want to enjoy it. And then Kama Krodha Vijayate. The lust develops. And if lust is there, then very soon the younger brother of lust comes. That's anger. You become angry, unhappy, because my desire is not fulfilled. And that's the cause of our unhappiness in this human form of life. And Krishna says here that without peace, no happiness. And can only have peace when you don't have material desires. What are material desires? And what are spiritual desires? Spiritual desires are a cause of ananda, bliss, happiness. And material desires are a cause of suffering. And that is confirmed by the sages. If you desire to enjoy this world, you have to pay for it with suffering. People don't know that. You have to pay. You get your karma suffering, nothing for nothing in this world. A very serious thing. So if you have material desires, you want to fulfill them, you have to suffer. No way out. No way out. One who wants to enjoy senses must suffer. And that is what Krishna explains. He says, if you desire to serve me and you serve me, then you serve me, no reaction. And you get purified. When you get purified, you get happiness. Lord Krishna appeared 500 years ago as Lord Chaitanya. And Krishna Chaitanya, he said the same thing. It's interesting. Atmendriya priti vankha kari balikam. Krishnendriya priti ichadari premanam. The desire to gratify the senses is kam, lust. So that we know in Sanskrit is kam, desire to satisfy the senses is lust, kam. But the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema, is love. So Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita to tell us to give up this desire to gratify the senses of a temporary body. Just render service unto me and gratify my spiritual senses. That is love. That is love. So Bhagavad Gita teaches us what is love. It's very important. What is love? It's called prema. That if we develop this love, Krishna will give us the real Sat Chit Ananda. He will give us knowledge. Knowledge. He gives also this knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita, how to develop this love. But if you want to love someone, you must know the person. Can you love someone without knowing the person? No. And you must have a relationship. Otherwise, no love. Therefore, one has first to become, the first step is to get Vijnan. Vijnan is transcendental knowledge and knowing how to apply it. And if you apply it, you can get Ananda, spiritual bliss. And that's different from material satisfaction. Millions and millions of times more happiness. That blissful. That's. But to get this Ananda, one must first be situated in the knowledge of the relationship with Krishna. And that knowledge is called Viditatma. And this Viditatma has three. You have to know three things. Who am I? Oh, the first thing is, who is Krishna? Only when you know who Krishna is, you can know that you are not Krishna. They are different. And then knowledge about the relationship. Three things. Knowledge who Krishna is. So everything starts with knowledge of Krishna. Therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma samedipyam yonya veti tattva tyaktyam punarjama naitamam etisayana. If you know me, Krishna says, and my appearance, and my pastimes, then you don't take birth again. So that knowledge of that relationship is devotional service. Because we spoke about this Jnanis, the impersonalist who want to become one with Brahman. Lord Chaitanya said, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Taiva Santa Bhukti Mukti Siddhikami Sakala Ashante. Only a devotee of Krishna is desireless, materially desireless. He has spiritual desires. spiritual desires. What's a spiritual desire? What's a material desire? Material desire is the desire to gratify the senses, the body and mind, and the senses. That's material desire. That making plans to become happy in this world. That happy, good eating, then I'm happy. But there is no happiness, that's an illusion. That is only absence of pain. That is what it is. Unless one understands that, one is not ready for spiritual life. But only a devotee of Krishna can desire less because he's peaceful. He does not have material desires. Or he may have desires in the heart, material desires, but he does not act upon these desires. And by acting for the pleasure of Krishna, the desires are gradually removed from the heart. But the fruitive workers desire material enjoyment. The people in this world want to enjoy the body. That's the first level of happiness. We call it material happiness. Material happiness, nice eating, sleeping, sex life, all these things. That is material happiness. But just these people cannot be peaceful. I see sometimes someone I've seen in the past, someone is driving a car. While he's driving, he's eating something and he's making a phone call while driving. And then he has to drive for the disturbance. That there can be no happiness on that level. And the Jnanis desire liberation. We said, if they get a perfection, they can be peaceful. That's good. But they have still desires. And it's boring. So it's a temporary situation. They have to come back. Because they will desire to come back because there's nothing to do. It's only peace. And the yogis, of course, many of these Jnanis, they have become peaceful, right? But then they want to experience the soul because they don't have an experience of the soul, only absence of suffering. And then they are interested in Ashtanga Yoga. Then they perform Ashtanga Yoga and they develop mystic powers. And they become attached to the mystic powers. Or they may realize the super soul in the heart, because that's the purpose of real yoga. The purpose of yoga in Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in 6.7. Chitatmasna prashantasma paramatma samaita. Chita atmana, so one who has conquered the mind, and all these desires are gone. Conquering the mind means removing these desires. Then Prashanatma, one is peaceful. That is so they attain the same thing as those who want liberation, peaceful. And if they are really peaceful in heart, and they are searching Paramatma, they find Krishna as Paramatma in their heart. And then they find out this Paramatma is controlling material nature, is regulating our digesting, all the cells in the body, the blood, and that gives us remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness, according to our karma. So they find out this Paramatma in the heart. Nice. Controls material nature. And what is the result of this realization? They remain in the material world. Because to get out of the material world, out of the cycle of birth and death, you must develop higher knowledge. That higher knowledge is called devotion. Our relationship with Krishna. We must live in a relationship with Krishna. And then we become completely free. All this, if we live in a relationship with Krishna, then all our material desires are removed. That's special of God, Krishna. Krishna is called in Shis Upanishad antiseptic. Sudha is antiseptic, and Apapavidam, prophylactic. There are two transcendental qualities of Krishna. Sudam. When you think of Krishna, your mind becomes purified of all its material desires. And Krishna as his holy name. His holy name is identical. If we chant the holy name, material desires are flowing away from our heart. We have millions of them. It's so powerful, so subtle, and so powerful, this holy name. If you have faith in the holy name, and you pray to the holy name, you will see that your life changes. That your material hankering will go down. And you will become more peaceful. We see many times devotees mentioned in the scriptures. In the Mahabharata, we have the Pandavas. Were they peaceful? They went through a lot of tribulations. That many say, look, if I become a devotee of Krishna, I become like them. That Hare Krishna, offering respect to Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Welcome. But yes, the becoming peaceful does not mean that we don't have material problems in this life. This does not mean that there is no suffering or no pleasure. That we become only transcendental to it. That's the point. Why are we suffering? Then the first question is, what is suffering? Where do we experience the suffering? In the mind. And the mind is identifying with the body. And we are all convinced, although we hear this philosophy, I'm the body. And therefore we suffer. We are identifying with the body. And we are identifying with the distress and with the happiness of the body. And what is the first instruction of Krishna to Arjuna after Krishna explained to Arjuna, you are not the body is changing, and what do we need to do with these changes? Krishna says, you have to become a Dhira. What is a dhira? A dhira is one who tolerates the changes of the body. What are the constant changes we experience in the body? Is happiness and distress. That is material happiness. Material happiness, according to Rupa Goswami, one of the followers of Lord Chaitanya, material happiness means bhoga tyag. Some you enjoy, sometimes not. Monday we are going to work, tomorrow. Most people go to work and they think, I wish it would be Friday. And then Tuesday comes and then, okay, 4 days to go. Yeah, let's go to it. And Wednesday, okay, we are halfway. And Thursday, we look forward for Friday. And Friday, they start to smile. And then and then the weekend comes. Some enjoyment. It goes so quick. And up, it's Monday again. We enjoy, time goes quicker. So that's bhoga tyag. That is material happiness. Sometimes enjoying, sometimes renunciation of enjoyment or suffering. That's bhoga tyag. It's going up and down. That mostly the enjoyment is much shorter. Eating a pizza, 20 minutes, and it's done. Very short, or so-called sexual enjoyment, the same illusion. Very short, and then that's suffering again. So this is bhoga tyag. It's bhoga tyag and it's chapala sukha. It's flickering just for a moment. So these are the qualities of material happiness. But Rupa Goswami says we should go for eternal happiness. So that's in the Bhagavatam. King Rishabhadev tells his 100 sons, you should go for tapo divyam, divine austerities in devotional service, to get everlasting happiness, happiness that never stops. And that happiness that never stops is called bhakti ras, is the experience of spiritual emotions in relationship to Krishna, God. But first you must have a relationship. And that's a relationship of love. That pity, love. And then you can experience the spiritual emotions. And the spiritual emotions, they never stop. Like we have Krishna Bhoko in the 10th canto, Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj, they are the so-called fathers of the mother of Krishna. So they think God is their son. They are not interested whether they are God or not, but they have a relationship with him. So Mother Yasoda is chastising Krishna for stealing butter. Otherwise, he will never grow up, she thinks. And what will he become later if he steals? And Nanda Maharaj thinks that, yes, it's my son. That Yagamuni said it, that you should take, your son is equal as Narayan. That Gangarishi said, is equal to Narayan. And yes, you should very nicely take care of him. So Nanda Maharaj translated it in his mind that, he says, yes, he is equal as Narayan, but is your son. You should take care of him. So, is Nanda Maharaj an illusion? Yes, but transcendental illusion. It's an illusion that helps the devotees in the spiritual world, the eternal world, which helps them to intensify their love for Krishna. We are under Mahamaya, the illusory energy here, the three modes consisting out of passion, goodness, and ignorance, which makes us identify with this body, which brings us in illusion and makes us forget Krishna. That different energy. So devotional service is the energy, the spiritual energy that reconnects us with Krishna. Because Nanda Maharaj is under this illusion, Yoga Maya, spiritual illusion. Because he has this intense love for Krishna. And Krishna, God, loves it. It doesn't like all the people in the material world. They're praying to God, please give me that, give this, and solve that problem. God is our order. That's okay, but he's not impressed by it. And also in Vaikuntha, that's the first part of the spiritual world. There everyone is aware. Lord Narayan, Krishna is God. And they offer him respect. But in Goloka Vrindavan, everyone sees, oh, Krishna is one of us. But they have more intense love. And Krishna loves that. Not that one prays to him, you are God. And that he likes Mother Yasoda, which chastises him that out of love. Because he wants the love. Uddhav was a great devotee of Krishna. And one time, because we know that Krishna so-called left Vrindavan and went to Mathura. And Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda felt separation. So, but Krishna could not go to Mathura because he was every moment Jarasandha could, one of the inimical kings could attack Mathura. So he sent his devotee Uddhav, very advanced devotee. And he sent Uddhav to Vrindavan with letters from Krishna and to console them. Yes, Krishna will come. But when he came there, he first met Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. And he saw they were suffering from separation. Suffering very much. Mother Yasoda was crying all the time. And Nanda Maharaj had his head down. And Uddhav was thinking, they are suffering so much. First he said he was happy he said to them, I feel happy to see you in that condition. That's strange. Is he a masochist? Taking pleasure in the suffering of others? No, because Uddhav knew that their feelings of separation were ecstatic love of Krishna, a pleasure which is not from this material world, which was intensified by their feelings of separation. So emotions, these bhakti ras, the emotions on the spiritual platform are ecstatic. And there is no question of suffering. But still Uddhav was thinking, they are crying and so on. I will I will try to bring their love down, then they are not so much crying. So I tried to bring their prema down, and I started to tell them, that I started to tell Nanda Maharaj, Krishna is not really your son. Is the source of the entire material creation. That is the super soul in everyone's heart. That so you think you are is your son, but he's the supreme Lord. What was the reply of Nanda Maharaj? Nanda Maharaj said to Uddhava, you are very young, much younger than me, and you are not so experienced. You don't know the truth, he said, Nanda Maharaj. I know what's Narayan, what's God. We are also worshipping Narayan in the form of the Salagram Shila. But Narayan is Satya Sankalpa. Narayan is always truthful. So God is always truthful, is very truthful. But my Krishna, he's expert in speaking lies. And he's stealing butter. How can he be God? And if I ask him to bring my shoes, then he brings my shoes on his head. So how can he be God? So he had this ecstatic relation with Krishna as in the parental law. And that ecstatic relationship is called Staiba. And that is eternal, always. So in that way, we are all part and parcels of Krishna. We are all unique. We have all a different fingerprint. We are unique. And we have all a unique relationship with Krishna. And that love of God is in our heart. But that love of God is in our heart, and that is, for the moment, this love is dormant, is covered by this ignorance of these bodies. But it is there. Like we have a child, it comes running. A few years ago, it was not running. It has to learn to walk. It had to learn to walk. But we don't have to teach the child how to walk. The propensity to walk is already naturally in the child. It will just come out, practice. So, and therefore we have our tendency to love Krishna is in our heart, because that is what we all want. We want to love and be loved. To love and be loved. But we don't really attain that in this world. But we can attain that in our relationship with Krishna. Krishna loves us so much. And if we love him, he reciprocates. And that reciprocation is bhakti ras. It's this ecstatic mellow, that ecstatic relationship. And Krishna's pure devotees, they are always in this taibhav, in this ecstatic relationship. Like our founder of our movement, Prabhupada. So once Prabhupada was in Mayapur, and one of female disciples of Mataji came to him with a picture, and he showed that to Prabhupada. And she said to Prabhupada, it looks like you are looking depressive on this picture. And Prabhupada looked at this picture and said, oh yes, I remember that moment. I felt great ecstasy. So that's the pure devotee. He feels constant ecstasy. And the Pandavas, they felt constant ecstasy in their relationship with Krishna. And their suffering was apparent. They didn't experience this suffering. They experienced it as an emotion, spiritual emotion. But because there was no identification with the body by their absorption in their relationship with Krishna, they were transcendental to happiness and distress in this world. But to become transcendental to this happiness and distress, we must first tolerate this happiness and distress of this world. Learn to tolerate, Krishna says. Krishna says to Arjuna, you should learn to tolerate happiness and distress, like heat in the summer and cold in the winter. Yamina vyatante purusham purushar shaba samudaka dukasakam liam somitat vaya kamapate. If you can tolerate this happiness and distress, you are a good candidate for liberation. Liberation is the beginning, peacefulness, right? So, but to come to that point, Krishna says further in Bhagavad Gita, we should be equal to happiness and distress. We should not be happy when there come opportunities for sense gratification. And we should not be disturbed when there is distress. So Krishna consciousness is the process to become equal in happiness and distress. And then you are peaceful. And to come to that point, we must purify our heart by engaging in that relationship with Krishna. And when you are constantly engaged in this relationship, then we become happy and peaceful. But to come to that point, we have to revive our dormant love for Krishna. And therefore, there is a process to engage our body, mind, and senses in the servant of Krishna. And that process is called sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the 12th chapter, best is if you can always think of me, but if you cannot think of me, follow the regulated principles of devotional service, sadhana bhakti. And then you will develop a desire to attain me. That spiritual desire will be, again, awakened, that spiritual desire. But to attain what? The spiritual master says you should chant Hare Krishna, you should give up sinful life, don't eat meat, fish, eggs, don't take intoxications, because that stimulates the identification with the body, is not good, and has heavy reactions as suffering. We have to give that up. And then we chant, and then we hear about Krishna from the scriptures. We worship the deity, that we can worship the pure devotee of Krishna. And then gradually we become purified, and we come to that point of always feeling Krishna in the heart. And then we live in a relationship with Krishna and attain perfection. Hare Krishna, that was my message. Any question? Otherwise, we can chant the Nrsimha prayers. Okay.